children, this video deals with the lesson The Wind on the Haunted Hill, which was written by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, born 19 May 1934, he is an Indian author of British descent. He lives with his adopted family in Missouri, India. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Dhera, his novel in English. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 and the Padma Bhushan in 2014. Most of his works are influenced by life in the hill stations at the foothills of Himalayas, where he spent his childhood. His first novel, The Room on the Roof, was written when he was 17 and published when he was 21. It was partly based on his experiences at Dehradun in a small rented room on the roof and his friends. His earlier works were written without it being meant for any particular readership. His first children's book, Angry River, published in the year 1970s, had its writing toned down on publisher's request for a children's story. On writing for children, he said, "I had a pretty lonely childhood and it helps me to understand the child better." Bond's work reflects his Anglo-Indian experience and the changing political, social and cultural aspects of India. The genre of this prose is children's fiction. So this story is moreover like a haunted story, and it is thrilled story. Let's move to lesson. "Hoo, hoo, hoo," cried the wind as it swept down from the Himalayan snows. It hurried over the hills and passes and hummed and moaned in the tall pines and deodars. On Haunted Hill, there was little to stop the wind, only a few stunted trees and bushes and the ruins of what had once been a small settlement. On the slopes of the next hill, there was a small village. People kept large stones on their tin roofs to prevent them from blowing away. There was nearly always a wind in these parts. Even on sunny days, doors and windows rattled, chimneys choked, clothes blew away. 3 children stood beside a low stone wall, spreading clothes out to dry. On each garment they placed a rock. Even then the clothes fluttered like flags and pennants. Usha, dark-haired and rose-cheeked, struggled with her grandfather's long loose shirt. She was 11 or 12. Her younger brother Suresh was doing his best to hold down a bedsheet while Binya, a slightly older girl, Usha's friend and neighbor, was handing them their clothes at a time. The wind blew from the Himalayan hills and trees. It passed the haunted hill and made a long low sound in the tall pines and deodars, and then the wind reached the village on the slope. It is a very small village of the next hill. It tried to blow away the tin roofs, doors, windows, chimneys and clothes. Usha has a dark hair and rose cheeks. Her brother Suresh and a friend Binya. Usha was 11 or 12 years old girl. All 3 were spreading their clothes out to dry by keeping the small rocks in the clothes, and then they rested a while in that flat stone. Suresh, he is trying to spread bedsheet, and Binya, she is handing with Suresh and Usha. Once they were sure everything was on the wall, firmly held down by rocks, they climbed up on the flat stones and sat there for a while in the wind and the sun, staring across the fields at the runes on haunted hills? I must go to the bazaar today, said Usha. I wish I could come too, said Binya, but I have to help with the cows and the housework. Mother isn't well. I can come, said Suresh. He was always ready to visit the bazaar, which was 3 miles away on the other side of Haunted Hill. No, you can't, said Usha. You must help grandfather chop wood. Their father was in the army, posted in a distant part of the country, and Suresh and his grandfather were the only men in the house. Suresh was 8, chubby and almond-eyed. Now Usha planned for going weekly shopping. Binya couldn't go with her because she had to help her mother. Binya had to do her household work and take care of the cows. Suresh was willing to go, but he can't. He have to help grandpa to chop the woods, but he always ready to visit bazaar. Usha's father serves as an army man, so he lives in different part of the country. Suresh and grandpa is the only man lives with Usha. Suresh, 8-year-old boy with chubby cheeks and has almond eyes. Won't you be afraid to come back alone? He asked. Why should I be afraid? There are ghosts on the hill. I know, but I will be back before it gets dark. Ghosts don't appear during the day. Suresh was very worried about Usha. Usha said that ghosts don't appear during the daytime. Are there many ghosts in the rooms? Asked Binya. Grandfather says so. He says that many years ago, over 100 years ago, English people lived on the hill, but it was a bad spot, always getting struck by lightning, and they had to move to the next range and build another place. But if they went away, why should there be any ghost? Because grandfather says during a terrible storm, one of the houses was hit by lightning and everyone in it was killed. Everyone, including the children. Were there many children? There were 2 of them, a brother and sister. Grandfather says he has seen them many times when he has passed through the rooms late at night. He has seen them playing in the moonlight. Wasn't he frightened? No, old people don't mind seeing ghosts. Now grandfather says a story about an English family which lived on the haunted hill over 100 years ago, and the family members were killed by lightning, and he said that he had seen 2 children, a brother and a sister of the family, often playing in the moonlight near the hill even now. This frightened them. Usha, even though she is planning to go for shopping. Usha set out on her walk to the bazaar at 2 in the afternoon. It was about an hour's walk. She went through the fields, now turning yellow with flowering mustard, then along the saddle of the hill and up to the ruins. The path went straight through the ruins. Usha knew it well. She had often taken it while going to the bazaar to do the weekly shopping or to see her aunt who lived in the town. Wildflowers grew in the crumbling walls. A wild plum tree grew straight off the floor of what had once been a large hall. Its soft white blossoms had begun to fall. Lizards scuttled over the stones while a whistling thrush, its deep purple plumage glistening in the soft sunshine, sat in an empty window and sang its heart out. Usha sang to herself as she tripped lightly along the path. Soon she had left the ruins behind. The path dipped steeply down to the valley and the little town with its straggling bazaar. Then Usha went for weekly shopping at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then she went through the hills, fields, ruins, and valleys. The path went straight through the roughs. She often used this path to visit her aunt and for weekly shopping. The ruined house had crumbling walls with wildflowers and a wild plum tree in the floor of the large hall, lizards on the stone, and singing bird on the empty window. And Usha sang for herself, and she tripped along the path, and soon she left the place. Usha took her time in the bazaar. She bought soap and matches, spices and sugar. None of these things could be had in the village where there was no shop, and a new pipe stem for her grandfather's hookah, and an exercise book for Suresh to do his sum in. As an afterthought, she bought him some marbles. Then she went to a mochi's shop to have her mother's slippers repaired. The mochi was busy, so she left the slippers with him and said she'd be back in half an hour. Usha spent an hour in Aunt Lakshmi's little flat above the shops, listening to her aunt talk about the ache in her left shoulder and the stiffness in her joints. She drank 2 cups of sweet hot tea, and when she looked out of the window, she saw that dark clouds had gathered over the mountains. Usha ran to the cobbler's and collected her mother's slipper. The shopping bag was full. She slung it over her shoulder and set out for the village. And then Usha entered the little town. She took her own time for shopping. Usha bought soap, matches, spices, sugar, pipe stem, exercise book, marbles, and necklace at the bazaar. A new pipe for her grandfather, exercise book and marble for Suresh. Then she went to get her mother's slipper from Mochi's shop. When she saw Mochi was busy, she left the slipper and said she'll be back in half an hour. Then Usha met her aunt Lakshmi. Then they spent an hour in her flat. Usha was listening to her aunt about her illness. Then she had a cup of sweet hot coffee. When she looked out of the window, the clouds gathered for rain, and Usha hurried home after collecting her mother's slipper from Mochi's shop. Glossary: Mount, make a long low sound. Haunted, possessed, ruins, collapse, terrible, fearful, saddle, burden, crumble, breaking apart into small pieces, whistling thrush, a small singing bird, straggle, spreading out in different direction. So the follow-up work is: students work in pair, read the story and find the answers for this question. What were the children doing beside the stone wall? What did Suresh ask Usha? Why? Who told the children the story about the ghost on Haunted Hill? Thank you. Section 2. Listen carefully as I read. Strangely, the wind had dropped. The trees were still, not a leaf moved. The crickets were silent in the grass. The crows flew round in a circle, then settled down for the night in an oak tree. I must get home before dark, said Usha to herself as she hurried along the path. But already the sky was darkening. The clouds, black and threatening, looked over Haunted Hill. This was March, the month for storms. A deep rumble echoed over the hills, and Usha felt the first heavy drop of rain hit her cheek. Suddenly, wind stopped. The leaves on the tree are not moving. The crow flew around her in circle and they settled in an oak tree. The clouds and thunders were threatening to rain, so Usha hurried to reach home before dark, and a few raindrops hit Usha's cheek. She had no umbrella with her. The weather had seemed so fine just a few hours ago. Now all she could do was tie an old scarf over her head and pull a shawl tight across the shoulders. Holding the shopping bag close to her body, she quickened her pace. She was almost running, but the raindrops were coming down faster now, big heavy pellets of rain. A sudden flash of lightning lit up the hill. The ruins stood out in clear outline. Then all was dark again. Night had fallen. I won't get home before the storm breaks, thought Usha. I'll have to shelter in the ruins. She could only see a few feet ahead, but she knew the path well and she began to run. Suddenly, the wind sprang up again and brought the rain with a rush against her face. It was cold, stinging rain. She could hardly keep her eyes open. The wind grew in force. It hummed and whistled. Usha did not have to fight against it. It was behind her now, and helped her along up the steep path and on to the brow of the hill. There was another flash of lightning, followed by a peal of thunder. The runes looked up before her, grim and forbidding. Usha did not have umbrella, but only a shawl and a old scarf, so she had to cover her head with a scarf, and she pulled her shawl over to her shoulder. Now the rain drops came faster. It was dark and lightning. She held her bag very close to her body. She was carrying all her stuff and started to move very quickly. The raindrops are big in size and it's raining heavily. Usha ran to the ruins to take shelter from the heavy winds and from rain. Usha was frightened and she thought she won't reach house due to lightning and thunder. Suddenly it started to rain heavily. The climate was cold and the rain was stinging. She finds difficult to open her eyes, but she managed to open her eye. The wind began to blow forcefully. She can able to hear hummed and whistled sound of rain. So she moved sideways to reach the corner of the old roof. She stayed in that shelter for a while, rather getting stuck in the wind. She knew there was a corner where a piece of old roof remained. It would give some shelter. It would be better than trying to go on in the dark, in the howling wind. She had only to stay off the path to go over a rocky cliff edge. Hoo, 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 howled the wind. She saw the wild plum tree swaying, bent double, its foliage thrashing against the ground. The broken walls did little to stop the wind. Usha found her way into the ruined building, helped by her memory of the place and the constant flicker of lightning. She began moving along the wall, hoping to reach the shelter corner. She placed her hands flat against the stones and moved sideways. Her hand touches something soft and furry. She gave a startled cry and took her hand away. Her cry was answered by another cry, half snarl, half screech, and something leaped away in the darkness. It was only a wild cat. Usha realized this when she heard it. The cat lived in the ruins and she had often seen it, but for a moment she had been very frightened. Now she moved quickly along the wall until she heard the rain drumming on the remnant of the tin roof. The wind blows. She saw a plum tree swaying. Leaves and branches were hitting against the ground. She was standing behind the broken wall. Then Usha found her way back to the ruined building. The place was very familiar to her. She began to move on sideways by placing her hand in the stones. When she was walking, she touched something soft. It was a cat. The cat was soft and furry. At that moment, Usha and cat was frightened for a moment by seeing each other in the dark night. Then she realized it was just a cat. Often she used to see that cat in that place. Now Usha moves quickly along the wall. Once under it, crouching in the corner, she found some shelter from the wind and the rain. Above her, the tin sheets groaned and clattered as if they would sail away any moment, but they were held down by the solid branch of a straggling old oak tree. Usha remembered that across this empty room stood an old fireplace, and then there might be some shelter under the blocked up chimney. Perhaps it would be dirty than it was in the corner, but she would not attempt to find it just now. She might lose her way altogether. Her clothes were soaked and the water streamed down from her long black hair to form a puddle at her feet. She stamped her feet to keep them warm. She thought she heard a faint cry. Was it the cat again or an owl? But the sound of the storm blotted out all other sounds. There had been no time to think of ghosts, but now that she was in one place without any plans for venturing out again, she remembered grandfather's story about the lightning blasted ruins. She hoped and prayed that lightning would not strike her as she sheltered there. Thunder boomed over the hills and the lightning came quicker now, only a few seconds between each burst of lightning. Then there was a bigger flash than most, and for a second or two the entire room was lit up. A streak of blue sizzled along the floor of the building, in at one end and out at the other. Usha was staring straight ahead. As the opposite wall was lit up, she saw crouching in the disused fireplace two small figures. They could only have been children. The ghostly figures looked up, staring back at Usha, and then everything was dark again. Usha found a shelter to stay away from the wind and the rain. Above her there was a tin sheet. It banged together and made a loud noise at that moment, but they held down in the branches of an old oak tree. It was dry and moreover in that moment Usha was very frightened. She did not know the way in the darkness. Her clothes and her long black hair were soaked, so she stamped her feet to keep them warm. She heard a sound of crying and thought it was the cat again or an owl, but the sound of the tin sheet and the storm bottled out all other sounds. So she don't have time to think about ghost. Without any plan, she was standing in a place. The lightning and thunder were often. Usha remembered Grandpa's story about lightning kill the English family and trade would not strike her. Suddenly, when the lightning flashed again, Usha saw two small figures at the opposite wall near the disused fireplace. They could have been children. The ghostly figure looked up and stared back at Usha, and then everything was dark again. Glossary: streak, line, flicker, shine, puddle, pool of water, remnant, what was left, blotted out, hid, crouching, bending down. So the follow-up work is you have to sketch the characters of Usha, Binya and Suresh. Thank you.